So, next gen consoles coming out. So the first question is, which one are you going to choose? So I play a lot of games, and I know a lot about technology. And the thing is, with PlayStation versus Xbox One, that's the main thing at the moment, because the Wii U's already been disqualified because the lack of games. Just like PlayStation 3 when that got released, there was a lack of games, so it wasn't that popular to begin with. But then it got popular after. So a bit of background history. Started off with Nintendo. Loved Nintendo as a kid. Then the PlayStation came out with Grand Theft Auto, and it was like a revolutionary thing because it was so cool when it first came out. It's still cool now, but the thing is, it was mind blowing. So then I went to PlayStation 2 because that was obviously the next option after that, because there was Dreamcast and stuff like that. It just wasn't good enough because of lack of games and lack of fun. So my friend got a Dreamcast, I got a PlayStation 2, and I played in this Dreamcast, and boy, I did not like it at all. The only good stuff I know was like Sonic and stuff like that. So I just went with PlayStation 2, and I was really glad I did, because lots of fun games came out, including RPGs like Final Fantasy 10 Part 2, 11, which was online but wasn't so good, and 12. And I think like the first Xbox came out around 2 years after the PS2, or a year after, I'm not too sure, don't quote me on it. And at first the controls were so awful, it was so bulky and heavy and yuck sort of feeling. It was so awful, disgusting. But there's some good games on it, like Halo's good. I'm not going to say it's amazing or the best shooter in existence, because it's not. It's a good game though. And racing games, there are plenty of them. So yeah, I was still stuck with the PS2 because I weren't too interested in racing games, because I could play somewhere on the PS2 or another console. And Halo was amazing, but I don't know, you get bored after a while, to be honest. So I just started the PS2. Then fast forward, and there were two options: PS3 or Xbox 360. And this time around, I went with Xbox 360. Because I got to be honest, when the Xbox came out, I loved the fact you could put your own music on it and stuff like that. All those little features added up quite a bit, and they made it quite a revolutionary console in some regards. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get the Xbox 360 this time around. So I waited all night in store, all morning to pick one up. I was so lucky, I got one of the last ones left in store. So I went home and I thought, oh, this is amazing, I've got to plug it in. Plugged it all in, took ages to boot, and I had a big power brick, or as I like to refer to it as a power supply, PSU brick. And I put it on the floor, on the carpet, because that's what you normally do. And the console kept overheating really badly, to the fact that I thought the house was going to get set alight a few times because how hot it was. So I looked online and I thought, oh, okay, maybe this is nothing to worry about. But then there were small fires caused by this, so I thought, oh no. Luckily I had a PSP box, and I put the power supply on top so it's sort of balancing, so it didn't touch the carpet. And it worked out. Played some games, I was impressed by the graphics. Ooh, excuse me. The first game was a racing game, of course, because you know, it's an Xbox, it's got to be a racing game. That's the way it always worked out. And I don't know what the game was called. It's probably some sort of, weren't Forza, was it? No, it weren't Gran Turismo, because I don't think the Xbox even has that. Oh, anyway, some racing game, but it looked flashy and shiny, so I gave it a go. And I was impressed by the graphics, but it was a bit laggy for some reason. And I did notice it, but at that time I was also playing PC games, whereas console games were like 30 frames per second or something silly like that. So I really did notice the lack of frames being cut out. But Then I played a few other games, and I thought, this is good, it looks good. But I wasn't that impressed because I played PC games at the time. And it kept having problems overheating and breaking down and lag, and it was just dreadful. So I stuck by it though, and I defended it for a while. Then it died. Then I got another one that pretty much died as well, to be honest. So then I got a PS3. It was an amazing device, and you didn't have to pay anything to go online. Great fun. Lots of games I loved, but not many people I knew had one. Everyone stuck with Xbox 360, so I had problems with playing multiplayer with people. So then I got another Xbox 360. Got really bored of it because it was just awful, to be honest. So I just gave it away to someone, and then I've not had consoles for a long time. I've just been playing on PC for ages. But with the next generation of consoles coming out, I think it's time I switch from PC back to a console, because it's the right thing to do. And these consoles should be able to play most games in 1080p 60 frames per second nowadays. If they can, that's good enough for me. So the thing is, what am I going to choose? Xbox One, PlayStation 4 or Wii U? First of all, Wii U's out of here because there's like not many games at all for that I would play. I used to love them as a kid. I love Zelda. I love the original Final Fantasies. I love almost all games on it. But you can't play the same game over and over and over and over and over again. So the options are Xbox One with a Kinect, or PlayStation 4, PlayStation I. So that's the tough part. At first I was looking into the Xbox One, and I thought all my friends will have it. The Kinect is amazing. Then I looked into PlayStation 4 and I thought, no one will have this, and it won't be that popular. And it's not got the Kinect, but it's got the PlayStation I, which isn't quite as good at all. And I went back to the Xbox One, and then I watched one of the videos, and they said, one, the Kinect's got to be on at all times. And I'm a bit of a white hacker, and I know it'd be easy to get into that. It'd be easy to hack into it, to be honest. Well, it won't be fully easy, but it's doable. And I thought, I can't do that. Also, you don't know who's watching, stuff like that. So just out of security reasons. Then you must be online all the time. Do not like that at all. Then there were some other problems, like you can't play second-hand games. So I went to PlayStation 4 and I thought, well, I was shocked. It's just a it's just a game console. Just like the old days, you just play games. Whereas Xbox One, as you're restricted to everything, and you can watch some films, you can watch some TV like you can normally, but with just a different way of watching it. Then I went back to the PS4 and I thought, wow, this is the device I want, because there's no restrictions and it's just a gaming console. You just play games on it. There's none of this bull crap with like 3 operating systems all going on at once. It's a game console. I want to play games. That's all I want to do. Then I thought to myself, no, because no one I know will have one, so I won't be able to play multiplayer. So I went back to the Xbox One, and they said, oh, don't worry, you won't have to have your Kinect on all the time, and you won't have to have your internet on all the time, but there's still problems with second-hand games. I thought, perfect. But then I was looking at the games list, and most they sound good, but I just prefer the PlayStation games, the exclusives, and some of the other games the PS3 had that the Xbox 360 did not have. And I was just thinking, well, that's my mind settled. I've just got to choose PlayStation 4. Sure, it's not got a Kinect, and sure, it won't have all the people I know on it, but it's got the games I want, and it's a games console. There's no restrictions, and at the end of the day, I want to play games. It's pretty easy to choose. So let's not get into the specs, because they're a bit hazy, and they won't really matter, to be honest, at the end of it, because One's I think the one's got 8GB DDR3. I mean, come on, what are we in 2007? But no, I'm not slacking it off because that's a good amount of RAM for a console. That's a big bump over the original amount of RAM. And the PlayStation 4's got GDDR5, which is a respectable standard, to be honest. So that's all good. And the GPUs, I think the PlayStation 4 had a 30 to 40% better GPU, and so on. But the thing is, specs don't matter because the developers for the games won't even care. They're just going to go for the lowest denominator and make a game that fits all. So we won't see, I don't know, Call of Duty looking, I don't know, 720p on the one and 1080p. Well, yeah, that's doable. That's easily doable, actually. But my example is the games will look almost the exact same on both consoles. So it doesn't really matter when it comes down to specs. But my choice is PlayStation 4 just because of the games alone. Thank you for watching and take care.